Yeah, so there's the classic way that people think of adding humor to a speech is to tell a joke.
Mm,
For some reason, people say, "Oh, you should always start with a joke." Now, who said that? The same
mm.
idiots that said you should always imagine the audience naked because
Ooh.
it will relax you. I would not be relaxed if the audience were naked. See, so that's a little humorous story I've told them that's made you smile. Um, and people that say, oh, body language is more important. No, it's not. Words are more important. Body language is important, but words are the most important thing. So stories against jokes. The trouble with a joke is it puts pressure on your audience because they'll sit there. If I say, here's a funny thing,
Yeah.
instantly you'll go, right, well, we'll decide if it's funny. And then they might have heard it before. And if it's a long one, they think, oh, I've heard this before. I know what happens if this gets to the end. It might be unsuitable. Often someone will hear a joke at the golf club and think, I'll share that at the next conference. You think, no, that's not going to work to a business audience. Why, idiot? Why would you tell that? So it's going to put pressure on. They might have heard it. It might be unsuitable. And worst of all, they might not find it funny. They might not have heard it, but they just don't find it amusing. Whereas if you do a funny story, and it might even just be as much as a little funny line added onto a real story, so you could tell a real incident that happened. So let me give you a story. I once presented a session on how to use humor in business in Johannesburg in 2010, just ahead of the Football World Cup. It was at the Emperor's Palace Hotel, and I was plugging my laptop in at the side of the stage, and my wife had said to me before I set off from London, you're too fat for your suit. You can't wear that. You need to get a new suit. And I said, no, this is my lucky suit for my first ever gig in Africa. But it was too tight. And as I bent down to plug my laptop in, my trousers split at the back, about that much. And then I came out like a space invader, just literally walking from side to side for 5 minutes because I couldn't show them the gap at the back of my trousers. And that's a real story. And then I'll think, well, how can I make that funny? Well, on the day when I did I eventually told the audience what happened. I said, look, the worst thing that can happen is you split your trousers. A little bit of a laugh. Yes, that's just happened. More of a laugh. No, really, it has. Turned around and showed them. And it's like the rule of three. The third thing has to be the funniest thing. I showed them. You could see the red underpants through the navy trousers. Did my 30 minutes. And then at the end, I said, are there any questions? And this big South African man stood up and said, tell me this. Do you always wear those trousers for this talk? Like I'd packed a pair of comedy trousers. So I know that there's humor in that three, and then there's humor at the end with the guy, and it gets a bit of a laugh because I do a comedy South African accent, and I can do that fairly well because my wife's South African, so I feel like I'm allowed to do that. And that's just an example, really, of mining your life for real stories, and then think, what point could that illustrate?